Another dawn, finding out you're moving on without a doubt. Say what you need to restrain me, pick me up to put me down. It isn't fair when you shout, patience there, but it's running out. Today's the day that you'll all see, bet you wish you kept me now. Where has everyone gone? Was I really not good enough for you? Can't you see what I've done? Was I really not good enough for you? Not again, second time, kill a friend, feel alive. Do you feel the fulfillment from within, or the momentum when you take a dive? Purple roads and city lights, get in the car or get left behind. Tell me again, I'm a has-been, it might kick me into overdrive. Where has everyone gone? Was I really not good enough for you? Can't you see what I've done? Was I really not good enough for you? And you'll never be safe from the pace of the change. You can feel it in your skin as the eggs start setting in. And one day you'll be gone. Is there anyone good enough for you? Show the way, take it in, stay the same, specimen, loss of faith, breathing in, ricochet, adrenaline. Show the way, take it in, stay the same, specimen, loss of faith, breathing in, ricochet, adrenaline. Where has everyone gone? Was I really not good enough for you? Can't you see what I've done? Was I really not good enough for you? And you'll never be safe from the pace of the change. You can feel it in your skin as the eggs start setting in. And one day you'll be gone. Is there anyone good enough for you? Why am I here? Could you come instead and take a miles out of my depth?
Wait,
Some more
wait.
fake smiles, I'll just nod my head for one small glimpse of your breath. Stained shirts and cigarettes, I failed again, try my best. Forget my fears, ignore all my threats. Just lay your mind on my chest. You seem like that kind
I think I'll be
of
okay.
guy.
I think I'll be okay. Let's see. I should be fine. It should be fine. But let's see just in case. Will Twitch kill me for playing My Chemical Romance on stream? Probably not, but it's worth a shot. Let me just turn this down a bit. So yep. Hello everyone. It's starting in a couple minutes, as you can tell by the starting soon screen. Oh boy. I'm just stalling for a few minutes. Giving everyone the time they need to show up. That's it. That's all it is. Oh dear lord, already. I should retweet my thing actually. Not that me retweeting it does anything, but you know, I feel like retweeting my own tweets. I'm iconic that way. Oh, I already retweeted it. Okay, never mind. Lame. I am getting there. Recopyrighted. I think. Probably. I have no clue actually. Stream marker. It's stream information. Okay, watch party, grade, and post channel. Clear chat history, toggle emote only, toggle follow. Want that button. Okay. Yep. It's followers only now. I'm forcing people to follow me. Okay, let's just press on before I, you know, get myself banned off Twitch for playing music that I probably shouldn't be playing. All right. Chapter 8. This is not long enough. But it fits. Alright. Dusk grimaced in response to my reaction, a little taken aback by the sheer intensity of my response, but generally still understanding. Yep, that's how I reacted too when I found out. I took a moment to compose myself. Where's the nearest directory? I asked. Right up this corridor, take the first right and it's right there, he replied, frowning a bit. Nodding, I walked over to the directory, found what it was I needed, and headed in the direction of my next destination. Dusk caught up with me after a few seconds, seeming eager to continue discussion over the revelation. Okay, so I know you've probably got tons of questions regarding all this, like what's a Calestria how does that work, or even what's going to happen to me, but it's fine, man. We'll work it out step by step because it's my job to try and help you here. We're going to cooperate with one another and we'll be fine. You just got to trust me. And you're headed for the exit, aren't you? I raised my eyebrows, shaking my head slightly. Bang on accurate. Good one, Dusk, I remarked sarcastically, quickened my pace out of impatience. Dusk quickened his to outspeed me, practically skipping backwards as he positioned himself in front of me. Now wait a sec here. You don't want to know what's happening to you at all? He raised an eyebrow, quizzically, confused. No, I don't want to know what some fucking circus clowns think about me. I want to... Oops. I replied coldly. I want to leave, and I want a burger. The exit couldn't be much further, could it? Just a couple more turns, and I was free. Dusk seemed dissatisfied with this answer as he stopped suddenly. I moved to his side to get past him, and he gripped my wrist as I tried moving forward. If that letter is true, you can't be left alone, he warned. You'll burn out within a year. And that bush shitty for your self-preservation as well as whoever is unlucky enough to be near you when you go off. Despite my sense of urgency to leave, I was curious enough to ask, go off? He nodded, affirmative. Go off, explode, erupt, assimilate. You're likely to go off like a miniature nuke. I reached into his pocket and tugged out the bottle of my supplements, suppressants, and started unscrewing the lid. I'll just fucking suppress my heritage again, then that'll... I didn't have time to even finish my sentence before Dusk struck the bottle from my hand, sending it clattering to the floor. It's too late for that, he spoke in a hushed tone. Your heritage, your powers, are like a hose. That slowly turns itself on because it's faulty, a hose that can't be turned off once it's on. And these suppressants are like you actively tightening the handle of this hose every day to make sure it doesn't turn on. But he paused for a second to clear his throat. It was clear he didn't talk this much often. You leave that hose long enough and it'll turn on. Past that point, these suppressants are more like putting a kink into the hose in an effort to stop the flow as much as you can. The pressure builds. It continues building until it explodes with immense intensity, or ruptures the hose itself. He pressed a finger hard into my chest. Hose? Gestured to the fallen bottle of pills. King! Got it, numbnuts? It'll likely cause damage we can't even fix. I scoffed at this notion. The fuck kind of metaphor is this? Did you think this all through at all before you opened your fucking mouth? I tugged against his grip, but again couldn't pull free. Go, prick! I spat irritably. Explain something to me then, James. If you don't believe the letter. Dusk bore his gaze into my eyes, as if peering beyond my eyes for something more than what eyes could see. Your documented power is ocular prowess, being that your eyes work at a heightened level to that of the average human eyeball. Correct? I sneered in response. Wow, congratulations, dickhead. You can read a document. Praise be to you. Dusk paid my sarcasm no heed. So why is it that Axel's report states you used a lightning-based power? Prepared to respond again, my mouth already twisting into a visage of disgust. But I faltered. We still have no idea how the hell I developed the power out of nowhere, do we? Dusk saw my hesitance and continued. Furthermore, we've noticed you have quite the regenerative factor. Seems to source itself from your red blood cells, meaning it's a biologically sourced healing ability, and that isn't documented either. You recovered from injuries that would have taken days or even weeks to heal from in a matter of hours. That isn't possible, James. I was quiet, unable to refute anything he was saying. Dusk kept going, not finished just yet. To make matters even more confusing, if what your mother's letter says is true, then your body is changing rapidly, which would explain why your diagnostic tests are vastly varied in results. Pulling out his phone, he started reading from something on his screen. Day 1, diagnostic results. 431.2% of average aura wavelength. Day 2, diagnostic results. 114.8% of average aura wavelength. And today's results, 246% of average aura wavelength. Pocketing his phone, Dusk nodded towards me before adding, these averages are based off others with your documented powers and physiology. So explain that one to me before you start trying to deny what your mother wrote to both of us. Without waiting for me to say anything else, Dusk tugged me away from the path to the exit, diverting me down a different path. We need more information, though, that's for sure, he muttered, more to himself than to me. Out of both an inability to pry free of his grip and my own growing curiosity as well, I followed without much struggling. We shortly arrived a few minutes later within a library. Library wasn't the best descriptor for what I could see, honestly. A library is a place filled with books, a quiet place of knowledge, of fiction, of wordplay, and a massive world yet to be explored. This place felt like it was too much. It was too filled with books. Every spare, empty area stacked with piles of books that were half read, tossed aside, neatly stacked, slumping across each other in a mess that only an obsessive scholar could appreciate. It felt loud, like everything trapped within these pages was desperately trying to escape, to seek freedom within the minds of those who entered the room. It was a place where fiction overwhelmed, where one could truly get lost among the pages of anything in here. Hell, you could probably even get lost beneath the books themselves. Oh, Jesus Christ. Dusk strode towards what I assumed was the main desk, which was framed by loose documents and stray books. Seated behind it were two people, a boy and a girl about my age, the boy sporting grey hair and eyes paired with a cheeky grin, while the girl's eyes were a neon green that both complemented and contrasted against her violently hot pink hair. The boy seemed more interested in balancing as many books as he could in one hand, while the girl stood to attend to us. Before she could ask us anything, Dusk simply asked, anything on Kylestrians? The pink-haired girl frowned, turned to a computer, tapped a few keys. There's a small section. Look between the occult and deity area. Her voice felt weirdly warm, like something was melting in my ears. It wasn't unpleasant, but definitely weird. Dusk nodded his thanks and walked off, pulling me along with him. We arrived at the area, and Dusk immediately began running his finger along book spines, narrowing his eyes as he focused on the faded lettering of some books, focused on the messy scroll of a handwritten book to decipher the title, searching for something specific. The issue with this field, he started, scratching the back of his head as he hunkered down to trace a lower shelf, is that it's all theory. Nobody knows if these things even exist, and everything we can figure out is based off old tales or, well, impulse. I frowned. So we're looking through dusty old ramblings that might tell us nothing useful? Dusk peered up at me, shrugged carelessly. This is a waste of time. He pulled out one book from the shelf, opened the page, watched with dismay as the aged paper crumbled to dust. Not that one, then. And then a voice that gave me chills said, You're looking in the wrong area. I turned around and came face to face with the owner of the voice. Skin pale yet radiant, eyes that shone with an icy blue, lips that were red as blood, an inquisitive expression on her soft features, and hair as white as snow that tumbled gently down her back, halting midway down her spine. She gave me a look, her mouth twitched ever so slightly, then her gaze shifted over to Dusk. You want to search the floor, that's where all the best material is for scarce information, she said. The shelf titles are there to look pretty. To emphasize her point, she bent down, picked up a battered leather-bound book I wouldn't have noticed among the swath of other books, handed it to Dusk. I know this specific area pretty well, so just ask me next time, Mr. Lightwing. Mr. Lightwing? This guy's a fucking teacher? Dusk examined the book, opened it up, and flicked through a few pages, nodding and clicked his tongue in approval. Nodded and clicked his tongue. Thanks, Ophelia. Appreciate the hand. The girl, Ophelia, tucked a stray strand of her white hair out of sight, walked away quietly, picked up two books off the floor, and carried them along with her. Dusk must have been watching me as he laughed softly. Fascinated by the local bookworm of Nexus, James. I scowled, cursing as I kicked a couple books. Dusk now led me out in the book room, nodding again in the direction of the pink-haired girl. And the ashy-haired boy. The boy had decided to juggle the books he was previously trying to balance. The girl seemed exasperated by his lack of contribution. Trust the jester to always be dicking about, Dusk mused, and trust Marceline to put up with it. As we walked up slowly towards Harrowing's office, Dusk flicked through the pages of the book Ophelia had given him, a growing expression of bewilderment ever present. He kept muttering to himself, flicking a quick glance in my direction and narrowing his eyes before returning to the book. Twice he brought out the letter, reread the details again. I got impatient, waiting for information quite fast. So, are you gonna say anything at all? Or Dusk held up a hand to silence me, reading one particular page with intense concentration. I peered at the text, Dusk's finger pointing out the specific passage he was focused on. Hylestrians are entities that each control a set aspect to totality. Heat, fear, strength, renewal, light, knowledge, and many others exist, though proving their existence is difficult. They are pure beings of energy, an ever assimilating entity with limitless power at their disposal. And to human perception throughout history, they often may have been confused for godlike deities, such as the god of flame, Ignis. See page 29 for the story of Ignis. I was quiet. Dusk was not, energetic and hyper. I read a few other passages claiming things like entity exclusivity and a whole heap of loose theories to Kylestrian sightings, but this is huge. How does it work? God, I can't even imagine how complicated a process creating you was. Gee, thanks, prick, I replied, rolling my eyes with contempt. So what? I'm half space god or something. Doesn't sound so bad, being half space god. He shook his head, stopped, nodding his head slowly, shook his head vehemently, stopped again. I actually have no clue. Wait a moment. Dusk sped off, leaving me stood alone in a hallway, wondering what the fuck had just happened. I thought back on the letter, remembering as much as I could about what my mother had written. You know what a Kylestrian is, kind of. What does that make me? What is my heritage? I thought about it some more, and something clicked. Time. The suppressants were meant to buy me time, to increase the buffer period between being awakened and fully developed. By the sounds of it, I should have had more time, but now, if she wrote that letter already being concerned, I wouldn't have enough time, and I was meant to be on those suppressants for longer than I have been. Am I going to die? My mind spiraled, dead, gone, into the abyss, the ether, away, never to return, close eyes and into an endless dream. I'm not ready to die yet. My breathing was shallow, short. My skin was prickling and itching, and I was panicking because I was going to fucking die. You good, Holmes? I looked up slowly and saw yet another new person. My eyes stung briefly with a sharp, cold sensation. A stabbing pain sunk into my head for a moment, and my mind immediately flew to an all too familiar scene from my memories. It was just a boy, a couple years older than me by appearance, yet something about him recalled my recurring dream to the forefront of my mind. The boy who faces off against some being of pure energy, almost as if hatred incarnate. The boy stood amongst the ruins of a still unfamiliar city. There wasn't anything specific about this boy, nothing at all. That was triggering the memory to resurface. Is it him? Already? Dark hair hanging low over his violet eyes, tall, immensely tall, well built, muscled, a commanding presence, a mildly concerned expression that didn't manage to wipe the cheeriness from his features. He made a big show of clearing his throat before asking again, "You alright, man?" Not really, no. I kind of feel like shit. Yeah, I'm alright. I shook some of the trembling from my body, trying to mask my panic as best I could. Sorry, do I know you from somewhere? I asked, unable to shake the sense that I'd seen him somewhere before. He frowned at me now, officially confused. No? He said skeptically, drawing it out. Never seen you in my life. Pointing at my still shaky hands, he mentioned, "You look like you're having a seizure or a panic attack, that's all. Here." He took my right hand, gave it a firm shake. "Never met you before, but it's nice to meet you." He gave me a grin, probably to calm me down. He gave the boy's hand a half-hearted shake in response. "James." Dear Lord, this is not what I want to be listening to. 1 second. I'm fixing things up. Let's see. That works. He nodded. Chrysorius. Friends call me Cry, though. And it was here that my worries temporarily faded into the back of my mind, and I asked him, "The fuck kind of name is that? Why does everyone here have wacky names?" Chrysorius winced a little. Not that bad, is it? Jeez. Letting go of my hand, he took a moment to run his fingers through his hair. "You're definitely new here, then. Almost everyone knows about names here." "Then explain it to me," I said. He took a moment to think before answering. "Names are not just identities here, they're paths. Taking a new name is symbolic of choosing your own path, but also by killing your old self. You're becoming something better, someone better, and the best way to show that is to, well, take a new name? Basically." My mind wandered. Dusk had mentioned it earlier. I had nowhere to go. I had no intention of being schooled here, but the idea appealed to me to figure something out for myself. I had to do something, else I was gonna die. But was letting go of the past really my only option? What do you want to do now? Chapter 9. I hope we're all enjoying this so far, by the way. Those of us who are here. Give me a sec. I'm gonna check something real quick. Hate to interrupt the flow of the stream, everyone. Okay. Everything's still going well. All right, excellent. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, chapter 9. What the? Why do I see a slide count? I don't want my slide count being visible. Piss off. What's this? I would use this if I could, but I think I might use the other song that I had planned. I'm gonna save this one for later, actually. Chrysorius bid his farewell, with Dusk returning shortly after. His expression was one of abject disappointment. Perhaps he'd not found what he was looking for, as all the excitable energy from earlier was gone now. The leather book was also absent, either hidden on his person or placed somewhere else for the time being. With a gesture of his head, he walked along, this time not pulling me along by the arm. Thank fuck. After a couple minutes of walking in an unknown direction, Dusk spoke up. I spoke to Harrowing, and we've arranged a room for you for now. I was about to reply, heat already creeping into words that hadn't been spoken, but he quickly brought a finger to his lips, the universal sign to shut up. We've got nowhere else to go, so until we figure out what to do with you, the least we can do is provide some form of accommodation. Another silence fell, one that lasted all of about 12 seconds. This time I was the one who broke it, asking, "Is Dusk your actual name?" The topic of names is still fresh in my mind, and it didn't sound half bad. Dusk gave a coy grin. Yes and no. I scowled in response. Elaborating further, he added, "Dusk is my name, but it wasn't the name I was given at birth. I took the name from my own, and Lightwing was added a little bit later on. So why Dusk and why Lightning? Lightning? Why Lightwing?" I pressed, eager to get answers and, possibly, inspiration. While he looked like a Dusk to me, I figured that was likely because he'd been introduced as Dusk, so that name just fit in with my expectation of him. He rubbed at the back of his neck while he thought about it. Dusk just felt right, I guess. Lightwing is a joke of sorts. I frowned, but he simply waved it away. Doesn't really matter. Dusk Lightwing fits well enough for me. But why do you care? He asked in return. Some guy cried Cirrus? I think that's his name? I knew I had the name wrong, but the name seemed so ridiculous that I couldn't possibly remember it perfectly. Ah, Chrysorius, he corrected. Star of Nexus. Bright young man. What about him? Star of what now? Christ, all these new terms and titles are killing my limited brain space. He mentioned that names are a way to create a new person and to forge a new path in your life? I still felt skeptical, which was part of why I'd asked Dusk in the first place. I wanted clarification, and it seemed Dusk knew enough. I wasn't disappointed, as Dusk nodded. Yep, basically. Why, you want to take a new name? What, just like that? He smirked in response. God, no, you gotta find a name that fits you properly first. Don't want to name yourself something stupid like Razor Cyclone, you know? Ugh, that name sounds like shit. Exactly my point. You want a name that is definitively you. Dusk fell silent again for a moment before adding, "Actually, there's something that might help. Follow me." He sped up, practically jogging down the hallway, and I trailed shortly behind him. We shortly arrived at a massive room filled with displays of artwork across the walls and a strange, slight purple tinted light that fell across the room. The floor felt soft, cool, like a plush carpet that never lost its initial feel, and yet none of this was particularly noteworthy when compared to the three huge fucking trees in the middle of the room. One bore green leaves, leaves that glittered beneath the purple light. One held leaves of a vermilion red, almost glowing against the dark oak branches. One was pearl white and, despite the uncanny appearance, looked to be the most developed of the three trees. My jaw dropped. Yep, Dusk said. The story goes that each tree embodies a spirit, with green embodying vitality, red embodying energy, and white embodying clarity, and that this building was built around these three trees. He clicked his tongue before adding, "It's all bullshit, though. The trees are just here to look nice. Spice up the place a bit, you know?" Who the fuck spices up a building with trees? Dusk gestured to the trunks, pointing out the aged stump where a branch had once resided on the vermilion tree. "The bit we're here for isn't the magical display the trees put on, though, but for the handy aspect of these trees. Specifically," he clarified, "their branches. Check the trunks out. You'll find some more of these stumps." And he was right. Every one of these trees had stumps hidden all over the trunk, almost as if the only reason any of the trees had bare trunks was because the branches had been lopped off. Normally, it would stick out like a sore thumb, but so many of the old branches had been cut off that it simply looked like a unique texturing of the oak. Backing away from the vermilion tree, he gestured broadly to the three great trees. "All right, pick one." I frowned, a bit confused. "What?" "Pick a tree, a color, something. Hurry up." "Why, though?" "Just do it. Can't you do it for me?" Dusk shook his head. "No can do, sir. The intention needs to be there for this to work well. Pick whichever one sticks out the most to you." Pushing any other questions aside for the moment, I stared at the three trees. They all looked brilliant in their own way, but my attention was drawn most to the stark contrast of the pearl tree compared to the emerald or vermilion. The pearl one, I guess? Dusk nodded in agreement. Pearly. Unorthodox, but a personal favorite of mine. Without further delay, Dusk drew forth the blade he'd had sheathed at his hip, brandishing it with flourish. I squinted at the blade's design, struggling to comprehend exactly what it was I was looking at. That blade glowing? What in the sci-fi fantasy fuck? After one quick twirl, his blade flashed, blindingly fast, and a thin branch fell from the pearl tree, the impact of its landing cushioned by the flooring. Dusk nodded, sheathed his blade, and beckoned for me. Need you for this next bit, James. I walked over tentatively, and he gestured toward the fallen branch. Pick it up, he ordered. His tone didn't exactly offer alternatives, so with my right hand I picked up the pearly branch. It felt light, sturdy, and unlike any kind of tree branch I'd held before. It felt uneasy, almost like it was waiting for something in nervous anticipation. What an empath you are. What next? You're a tree sage? It feels like it's waiting for something to happen, I told Dusk, who gave a single nod in response. Am I meant to do something now? No, you're supposed to flail the branch about till it grows legs and walks off, he replied, voice lined again with just the right amount of sarcasm to be appreciative, teasing, but not downright irritating. Shaking his head, he asked, what do you think it's waiting for? We have absolutely no fucking clue. I stared intently at the branch, looking for something out of the ordinary beyond its feel, but couldn't find anything. He gave Dusk a bewildered look. He mirrored it, mocking my cluelessness. Try pouring some of your powers into the branch without frying it, he mentioned. Without frying it? We don't have any control over this stupid lightning yet. And yet something clicked in my head, and I tried zapping the branch in my hand. Instead, the branch flashed white, blinding light. I squeezed my eyes shut from the intensity of the light until it faded, and when I opened my eyes, I was again confused. The sword wasn't in our hand before, right? A glimmering one-sided blade, a brilliant silver with a slight iridescent finish to it, combined with a simplistic golden crossguard, was gripped in my hand where the branch had been. It felt only slightly heavier than the branch had, and infinitely more comfortable. The blade seemed to catch the light oddly, flickering slightly as it wavered in my grip. Dusk, too, seemed rather confused. That doesn't look like a lightning manifestation, he muttered. Manifestation? I asked, fully lost in what was going on and still staring at the flickering edge of the blade. Fuck, I forgot to explain that bit, he said, in a tone that made it abundantly clear he hadn't forgotten at all, and simply hadn't bothered to mention it earlier. Manifestations are cleaner ways of combat, a way to learn combat without the destructive side effects that usually follow. They also help one focus their power, and helps establish the technique of autonomy, something that clearly isn't natural to you yet. Gesturing to my blade, he added, they also look pretty cool, but the reason I had you do this isn't related to typical reasoning. Give it a name. I glanced up at him, confused as always. Elaborating further, he said, think of what comes to mind first in your head when you stare at the blade. Call it by name, and by name it will be known, or whatever. I stared back at the blade, thinking hard on it. Glimmer? No, too shit. Shimmer? Nope, that's a shittier rehash of Glimmer. Starblade? Nope, that's ripped right out of some sci-fi shit. Stabby Stick? Doesn't fit. And then it hit me. I blinked in wonder, unable to process how I jumped to this name, or why I hadn't thought of it from the start. The way the light reflected off the blade's edge, my face perfectly mirrored along the metal. Mirror's Edge, I said. I'm naming it Mirror's Edge. Dusk pointed at me, my blade, and went, Bingo! See how you arrived at the name for your own sword? I nodded, still confused as to how I'd done it. Now, figure out the equivalent for your name. Something that just fits, no matter how odd it may seem. Oh, Dusk added, remembering something. If you want to dismiss your manifestation, just will it to disappear and it'll fade away. I glanced down at it one more time before imaging it fading in the same flash of light it had appeared in, and watched as the blade flashed out of sight, albeit in a far more subdued far more subdued manner than when it had first appeared, with a rather loud clap that made me jump, dusking out sadly. Alrighty, lesson's over. Let's head to your room. I got shit to do. Without further ado, he marched out of the room with me close behind. We have a lot of interconnecting passageways between buildings, he explained, but generally there's specific buildings and areas for different things. For example, dorms and rooms are all on the north side, while all processing and extra special areas are in central. Each side has entrances outward to Daybreak City too, and from the north side you get a pretty great view of Daybreak City. The wonder of creating a sword out of a tree was wearing off, and I was starting to sink back in my pissy mood from before. We pushed open a door, which opened up to a massive two-way corridor lined with doors. Every door looked stylized to some degree. We turned to the left and began walking, where we came across a group of unmarked doors. This is yours. Have fun with it. Oh, wait. I just completely skipped ahead. Stopping by the door third from the end of the corridor, Dusk knocked on the white steel door. This is yours. Have fun with it. I'll see you in the morning. Without any further explanation, he walked off, his pace far quicker than it had been when he was walking alongside me. Or maybe that's just a normal pace, and he slowed down for us. Turning to the door, I went to enter the room, and watched again with fascination as the door neatly slid into the wall to the left of me. The room had some light switches, and upon turning them on, I noticed a bunch of basic clothing that looked oddly similar to the clothing I typically wore outside of school, laid out all over the bed. A dark jacket, dark jeans, a white shirt, copies of the same comfortable sneakers I'd worn for almost a year now. There were blue shirts, red shirts, green shirts, and even a few black shirts too, as well as two red jackets and a white jacket. But all my jeans were pitch black. Upon further investigation, the jeans felt strange. A material that looked like denim and felt like a cross between denim and polyester. That'll be interesting to wear. The bed sheets beneath were a simple white, with a black quilt and a white pillowcase. They really just stuck with the monochrome color palette, huh? A sticky note was placed on the bedside table, which simply read, "If you want other stuff, just go buy it. Give Nexus a shot, kid. CH." Sighing with exhaustion and mild exasperation, I turned off the lights, then flopped into the bed, not bothering to move the clothes out from beneath me. Quite a lot to process all this new shit. I still wasn't even fully over the fact that my mother was dead, and yet everybody was eager to get me to move past it. All I wanted was to curl up and sleep till I was ready to face everything, and yet the world didn't seem ready or willing to wait for me to take the time to grieve. Yep, fuck the world. I frowned. Has my internal monologue always been this loud? I sighed again, more exasperated this time. If this is how Bella and Lucas had perceived me, endlessly voicing my own thoughts, it was no wonder they'd been so content with trying to kill me, even though we know that isn't true. And it was then, for no reason beyond the basic reflection of the last few days, that a name floated into my head. I was taken aback, surprised at first, then simply recoiled at the thought of it. That name sounds stupid. I remembered what Dusk said about the right name coming to mind, but no matter how right it felt, it just sounded flat out dumb. With one final frustrated sigh, I buried my face into the pillow and shut my eyes in an attempt to sleep. Time 8:33 p.m. Let me just do a music change real quick. After hours of lying there, tossing and turning and trying to snag the edge of unconsciousness in a valiant effort to rest, I finally was fed up. I changed clothes, taking a moment to marvel at how everything fit in a way that made me comfortable, yet still hung off me as loosely as my usual attire, then stared at a full-length mirror I discovered while changing. The dim lighting cast by the cityscape showed just how naturally the new clothes fitted, how it worked with my messy hair. Walking over to the window, I peered out to the city. Just beyond this window. Well, a window, a few walls, and a massive fence. And indeed, There were a few tall walls and a fence twice the height of the walls themselves, almost reaching the same level as my window. It looked immense, designed to keep someone 50 feet tall out of Nexus, and the dim lighting showed me something else as my attention got drawn to the windowsill. A small handle, a handle that when pulled slid the glass pane of the window I was peering through to the side. My eyes widened, and when I looked back up at the view of Daybreak City, wind in my face and the scent of night markets permeating the air, anticipation began building. I wasn't looking at the city anymore. I was looking at my destination. I squinted out to the huge fence, the distance between my windowsill and the fence seeming impossible. We can make that jump. I recalled a leap I'd performed before using my lightning power. I didn't really understand how I'd pulled off most of what I'd done that day with my new abilities. I'm trying to think of it. I've yet to really figure out what I can do. Tentatively, I tried to bring forth lightning into my legs, remembering that surging feel of energy as it coursed through my body. And before I'd had time to adjust to the feel of it, I straightened my leg. I flew upward. I scraped my forehead along the way before my skull collided with the ceiling of my room. Crashing to the floor, I took a minute to hiss and curl up in pain, clutching at my head. It's not like that, I guess. I sat back up, my head ringing still with an aching pain, taking my sweet time to clamber back to the windowsill. I took up the same position as before. Planting one leg up on the windowsill, but opted for another method and instead hopped up entirely onto the windowsill's narrow edge. I was painfully aware of how much my balance was necessary right now. If I leaned too far back, I'd fall flat on my ass, but if I leaned too far forward, I'd likely plummet down God knows how many floors before I eventually slammed, dead as anything, into the ground below me. Let's try this again. No pressure. I channeled lightning in my legs again, but instead of simply straightening my limbs instead of simply straightening my limbs, I leapt forwards, and I flew far, much further than I'd ever jumped in my life, further than I thought I would, too far, and I'd cleared the fence, but I was still going, still sailing over, and now I was falling fast. Oh, fuck. But instead of smacking against the asphalt beyond the fence of Nexus Academy, I fell into a patch of trees. Grasping desperately for safety, I managed to snag hold of a branch before disaster struck. The branch was far more flexible than I'd hoped, however, and after bending underneath the combined weight and momentum of my body, it snapped back upwards, ripping itself free of my grip, and for the second time in the past 5 minutes, I slammed into the ground. Fuck. That hurt like all hell. There was something hard jabbing into my left shoulder blade beneath me. My hands were beginning to sting and burn from the friction caused by grabbing the branch, and the oxygen had been properly kicked out from my lungs. But I was outside. That was the first big step in tonight's plan. Plan? Plan. Jesus. Getting out. Check. Now, to the city. Where is it? I took an extra minute to regulate my breathing, to acclimate to the stinging in my palms, then set off. Nexus Academy itself was situated on the far east side of the city, with a neighboring park surrounding the north and northwestern side of the academy, and as such it was only a few minutes away from the city. And yet there was a particular store I had a wild hankering to go to, so that became my first destination. Walking along the streets was always going to be noisy, with Daybreak City being one of the most populated and popular cities in the world, but I hadn't realized just how noisy it was. It could get at this time of night in the East District. My old house had been located on the outskirts of the West District, and while the West was plenty loud in its own right at night time, it paled in comparison to the bustling activity of the East. Neon lights of every color blared out and illuminated everybody throughout the streets. Flames flew high into the air as the residential chefs and cooks churned out their first or third or 50th set of meals for the eager customers. The addicts clung to the shadows cast by the streetlights, and nothing but a hand extended in a silent gesture of pleading, either for more substances or more money to put towards more substances. Every storefront was a screaming advertisement for itself. Come in for the massage of a lifetime. Try our brand new Homo sapien generated meat for just $2.99 a serving. Our candles will soothe even the most troublesome of sleepers into comfortable dreams. Come in for the best clothes you've never seen. The people were chattering incessantly, trapped in their own bubbles, their own quiet pockets of the world that revolved around them, their conversation, their drama, the latest flavor of the month, their financial stress. Then there were the typical expressions. The expression of pure joy from the freshly proposed woman outside Nina's cafe. The expression of outrage from the cook who'd just been told her food tasted like utter dog shit. The expressions of wonder from the young boy clutching his father's hand tight as he took in the sight of the city. The expression of the obsessed partner. The expression of the fool who'd had too much to drink after a rough day at work. Multiple expressions of subdued disgust when somebody with eyes popping from their shoulders walked by, or the man with a third arm protruding from his stomach called a giant crab person who looked as uncomfortable as everyone around them. Blatant displays of societal rejection. Gotta love it. I took in everything I saw, filed it away for another time, and turned a corner. And there it was, my next stop, Fun Buddy, a crudely named fast food franchise that served amazing food. Mouth watering, I ran inside. Another music change. Well, it's crazy. Whoops. Sitting down, I felt a mild pressure in my head before a voice asked, "Hello, what would you like to order?" I winced slightly, never truly getting used to the boomy sound of someone else's voice in my head, and formed a mental image of my order. The pressure vanished, and I sat there waiting, enjoying every moment I spent outside of Nexus. A few minutes passed before my food drifted through the air slowly, settling in the center of the table. The Buddy Beef Burger with no cheese and double meat, the two large servings of waffle fries, the ever amazing chocolate shake. The only thing missing from the equation is Mum. I quickly suppressed the thought, knowing only negativity would fill my head if I continued to think about past experiences here. Wolfing down my food as if I hadn't eaten properly in days, which wasn't the furthest thing from the truth. It took only a few minutes to finish the burger, fries, and most of the shake. Sighing with contentment, I leaned back, stretching a little before I downed the rest of my shake. And there I spotted someone familiar, someone worryingly familiar. Hair grey as ashes, cheery disposition, habitual fiddling of odds and ends in his hands for some reason, balancing on one leg while he waited in line. The guy from the library. Fuck. I quickly pulled my hood up, covering my hair and obscuring enough of my face. I got up hurriedly, hoping not to be spotted, recognized, caught before my night was done, and left the restaurant. Close call, but craving satisfied? Check. Next up, experimentation. Okay, where is it? This one. I turned down a dark alley, remembering some weird statistics about how 84% of all alleys in Daybreak City had a fire escape. And surprise, surprise, there was a fire escape sat in plain sight. Sometimes I wonder who actually cares enough to research this stuff. Channeling energy into my legs again, I leaped upwards, launching upward and catching hold of. Wow, I was really tired when I wrote these, huh? And catching hold of the sixth floor's railing for the fire escape. Pulled myself over the railing with much effort, trying to keep the noise down to avoid disturbing anybody by the windows next to the fire escape. We're not really physically fit, are we? I climbed up the remainder of the fire escape, headed for the rooftop. From up here, I could see the streets glowing, buzzing with movement, but definition had been lost due to distance. A breathtaking sight, regardless. Now for the fun part. I charged up my left hand, flung it outward, and pushed energy out of my arm, watching as a blast of lightning erupted from my palm. Despite knowing what was going to happen, I was still shocked by the result. The surprise wore off quickly, given into hapless laughter. I pulsed out another lightning blast, then poured a more continuous stream of energy outward and watched as lightning streaked outwards, snaking and crackling through the sky. This is fucking awesome. I'm gonna change music again, one sec. Before I could test out anything else, a stray beam of orange light shot upward into the sky just a few buildings away, seemingly coming from the street. The hell? With caution and controlled bursts of power, I leapt from one rooftop to the next, ever thankful for the minimal distance between each building. Peering over the edge of where the beam had come from with curiosity and abundance, I watched as a struggle ensued. Don't do this. I had to. I had to know what was going on. I had to check on the two people, and I had to give these powers a proper field test. Seriously, don't do this. But I needed to. Who else was going to stop whatever the hell was happening here? The right people. But the right people aren't here, are they? It's just these people and me. Don't you dare. I quietly made my way down the fire escape, reaching the lowest level without drawing any attention, before vaulting over the rail, lightning crackling from my body. That's not what I want. I want this one. Alright. Now, look, I would have continued. I would have, maybe brought out another chapter. I know it says I'm doing chapters 8, 9, and 10, and that's only chapters 8 and 9, but I I didn't realize how long I was taking to read. So, unfortunately, I'll have to cut it a chapter short. However, VOD viewers, anyone who's watching live, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Oh, we're just gonna take a few minutes. Just a stretch. What? I want to see if there's anyone I can raid. I could raid Delilah. I might raid Delilah. Alright. What to talk about? Let's see. Chapters, right. I'm releasing chapter... I need to fix my follower goal. I'm going to be releasing chapter 20 sometime within a couple hours after the stream ends. I'm looking forward to that. Big time. I need a nap. I really need a nap. I'm so tired. I haven't slept more than like 3 hours in over a week. Oh, it's really starting to take its toll. I keep yawning whenever I talk longer than like 2 seconds. Stuff regarding the Timescape Chronicles. Okay, so I'm releasing chapter 20 today. Next week will be chapters 21, 22, and 23. The following week will be 24, 25, and 26. There will be a break after that because I will have written 6 chapters in the span of 2 weeks. That'll burn the shit out of me if I'm not careful. I also need those last 2 weeks before the end of August to really refine these chapters. Because these last 3 chapters are very important to me as well as to the story. So that'll get out soon. Hopefully I can get it done. If I can't, I may delay the anniversary stream by a day, but I don't think I need to. I'm also looking at getting artwork sorted, so if there is any good artists that have open commissions or are willing to talk about maybe even contracting for artwork for the Timescape Chronicles, please message me on Twitter or on Discord if you have me added there. Talk to me about it because I want to get that sorted. I would love that. I've got to get a fair few things organized, and I'm hoping by the time I'm done with the first book, I will have the title. The title artwork, the cover art, or at least an idea of what the cover art's gonna be, because I want there to be a cover art. I think that's fair. I don't know. I just feel like for making a book, a cover art would be literally perfect. It would round it out perfectly. But yeah, that's about everything I want to really like mention. I will be taking like anywhere from 2 weeks to a month break. Once I finish with book 1, I need a break. from the writing, at least. I've got more Minecraft stuff coming up. There'll be a lore stream in like 2 weeks. It was gonna be next week, but I died, so now I need the extra week to get all my stuff back. Because yes, it's gonna take a week for me to get back all that netherite, my trident, all my enchants, and maybe get half the gold I lost. It's a lot. But that's about it. That's all I gotta say. I don't really have much to touch on with you all. Unfortunately, I would definitely talk more, but I'm really exhausted. Words are not my strong suit right now, and yeah, I'm so tired, man. So, VOD viewers, I hope you enjoy this. Again, let me turn off follow only chat. That's just a bad career move, I think. Just having that off. Like having that off is just gonna be so much better for me. Because that brings in traffic, which is what I want at the end of the day. Alright. Yeah. I think I'm gonna end here. We got one viewer. Oh boy. I want to raid someone, but I have one viewer. I don't know if I can raid on one viewer. Oh dear lord. Oh, this is gonna be embarrassing. You know what? I'll ride out these last 2 minutes. You think I've played this game so much, and yet I still don't know how the song goes. Like, I'd probably be able to work it out if I tried hard enough, but at the same time, yeah, no, I can't. Let's open Twitter. Let's see what people are saying on Twitter. Like, I've got a minute and a half to kill. I want to at least hit an hour. Should I start posting remixes I make on my TikTok? Go for it. I hate parties. It was so boring. I did nothing for 3 hours. Yeah, that's parties for you. Ooh, there's a Twitter space. Might sneak in. Maybe. I'll think about it. I miss Mint sentiments. Don't we all? Mint's been so busy lately with life. Like, he pops in for a little bit, disappears for like ages, and then comes back for a little bit. Deactivating main for a bit just for a mental health break. That's fine, Nikki acoustic. Alright. Why is techno trending? Do I want to read this? Huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, it's because of the most recent Tommy video. Got it. Excellent. No, not excellent. That's horrible. But yeah, no, now I know. Yes, excellent that I know, not excellent that I shut up. Yeah, Lord. I just need to kidnap one extra person. What if I do this? Don't do that. This is how desperate I am to not look like complete shit when I do this. And that's the... I really just went and said, yeah, I'll have the stream open on my phone and on my computer. Quality, auto, advanced. Come on, update, please. Yeah, view account updated. Let's go! Alright, excellent. Now I can raid and save some face. I cannot raid or save any face at all, but it's fine. The goal is to make sure that Delilah has a good birthday. So, Morello and me. Let's wish Delilah a happy birthday. God viewers, if you're confused at all, good. Remain confused, dumbasses. I'm kidding, you guys are dumbasses. Twitch, can you fix your algorithm so that watching VODs actually fixes something? That would be lovely. Anyway, yep, we're gonna raid. Yay, we're gonna raid. Woo! 1 viewer is ready. Oh, dear Lord. No, 2 viewers are ready. 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 It's 2, not 1. It's 2. It's 2. It's 2. 2 are ready. 2 are ready to raid. No. I need to fix this. 2 viewers are ready. Come on. It's 2 of us. Not 1, 2 of us. 2 of the exact same me, but whatever. Come on. One viewer. No. 2 viewers are ready. 2 viewers are ready. Come on. Oh, we have to do this again. It says I've got 2 viewers, but like, I don't. Come on. Fix, please. Oh, this is... Yes, 2 viewers. Yes, okay. I can save face now. It's good. It's good. Stream is over. I'm raiding now. Bye-bye. Dear Lord.